A fairy tale gone wrong. There's an old story about a prince and a princess, but this one is unlike any found in storybooks, and Disney is unlikely to create an animated feature film out of it. It's told in the Bible in 2 Samuel 13, and it's a true story. David, the king of Israel, in keeping with custom of his time, had various wives and various children by them. It's worth noting that, far from approving or even condoning polygamy, the Old Testament provides one example after another of why it doesn't work. The main characters are Amnon, one of David's sons, a prince of Israel, and Tamar, David's daughter by a different wife, a princess of Israel. Amnon and Tamar then are half siblings, and the Bible says this: Amnon becomes so obsessed with his sister Tamar that he made himself ill. 2 Samuel 13:2. Obsession is an idolatry word. Amnon was constantly thinking about and focusing on one image in his mind, one possibility. He allowed this vanity to fill his heart until he made himself sick with lust. Amnon had a friend and advisor who wanted to know why the prince was looking so rough. Amnon explained that he couldn't get the thought of being with Tamar out of his mind. The advisor then gave him the following advice. Okay, Amnon, here's what you do. Call in sick to the palace today. Then your dad, the king, will be worried, and he'll come to check up on you. You tell him that it would really help your recovery if your sister Tamar to come in and bake you some of her homemade bread. Then, of course, when she comes, you'll tell her you just love to watch her cook. Then, my man, I think you can take it from there, right? Amnon went with it. When his half-sister came in to cook for him, he said to her, Tell the servants we won't be needing them this evening. Then he instructed her to come to the bedroom and feed him to the bread. What happened next is heartbreaking. He pushed aside the food and declared what was on his mind. She resisted. She pled for him to think about what he was doing, to think about the disgrace it would inflict upon her, to think about his own reputation. The Bible says, but he refused to listen to her, and since he was stronger than her, he raped her. 2 Samuel 13:14. Tamar did what the people of her time did to demonstrate great mourning and suffering. She put ashes on her head and tore the beautiful robe she was wearing. These actions also symbolized her loss of virginity. She left weeping and broken. Amnon's sexual sin brought incredible destruction and devastation, not just upon his family, but on the entire nation. The disruption to a royal family means disruption to a countryside. Everything spiraled wildly out of control. But where did it all begin? Begin with idolatry. He chose to worship the god of sexual pleasure. He spent countless hours lusting after Tamar until it became an obsession. I know what you're thinking. What in the world does this story have to do with me? What would never go down such a path or commit such a heinous act? But that's exactly the kind of thing I'm sure Amnon said to himself before this happened. The god of sex specializes in taking you further than you ever intended to go. So let me ask you, has the pursuit of sexual pleasure become an obsession? Is it the subject of your last thought at night and your thirst first in the morning? Do you daydream about it at work, spend money on it, risk your career and marriage for it? Is it what you fight about most in your marriage? Do you feel the presence of God fading into the deepening mist of a cloud of shame?